Hi, and welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk with Tigo and Tracy Venturi. Tracy, we are again, episode 450 something.
Yep.
I've lost track again. It's great to be here every week talking about real estate in Albuquerque, real estate around the country, and what's going on. Real estate impacts everything.
Yes, it does.
For sure, in the economy. And we know that for sure right now when we're talking about what's going on with interest rates and stuff. But Tracy, introduce
Sure.
team and how to get a hold of us.
So the best way to reach us is give us a call, 505-448-8888. Or, of course, we're online. We're on YouTube, Facebook, all those things. Best website is welcomehomeabq.com, which has amazing search tools, whether you're thinking of buying or selling, investing, just want to know some market data, how things work. It's all there, too. So if you want to just look online or call us, we'd be so happy to talk to you.
Yeah, we live and breathe this real estate thing and love helping people with it. So Tracy,
Yep.
There's been a few news stories this week, and I think the biggest impact on the real estate world is what's going on with the mortgages and the Fed and what they did this week, which was not raise the prime rate. So
right.
If you're following this whole thing, the Federal Reserve basically sets the cost of money, and this week was their meeting, and they decided not to raise the cost of money this week because they felt like they didn't need to slow down the economy anymore at the moment. They're really trying hard to slow the economy, and guess what sector of the economy is taking the hardest hit?
I would guess housing.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't have to guess. I know.
And when I say that, I don't mean it from a pricing standpoint, right? Because prices has actually held up very well,
right?
But the number of sales is funny. There's been this conversation about we're in a housing recession. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that sales are down 20% nationwide. It doesn't mean prices are down 20%.
And it doesn't take into account availability of homes. The number of homes for sale is down, but the why is pretty important, right?
Well, the thing that's interesting is there's, these prognosticators in the housing world talking about how, well, the buyer demand has crashed. It's like, well, the supply has also crashed.
Right.
So, it's that old thing from, Econ 101 is, if demand is low, that means that, prices are going to drop. And if supply is low, prices are going to go up. Well, right now, both demand and supply are low.
Right.
And so what's happened is they've just kind of both moved down together, which in turn has kept prices going up or steady.
Right. Yeah. I think there's still demand. It's a matter of what's available and what price and what terms and all of that.
What are we seeing with just on our team and what's happening in the market, right now? We're State Fair time. We're in September.
Yeah. State Fair is over, but we're already looking forward to Balloon Fiesta, right? It's interesting because we had a house like just today went into under contract pending sale, but it's been on the market about 2 weeks. It's had a lot of looks. It's sort of a unique property, but and then at 2 weeks we get 2 offers on the same day. And It's interesting because we have buyers who say, well, it looks like this house has been on the market for 33 days. I can get a great deal. And it seems like everyone else thinks that at the same time, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the law of things, I guess, where the interest all hits at the same time, and then you're competing again for the house. So we kind of say, well, don't wait. If this is the right house for you, let's get that offer in before other people have a chance to do it.
Well, something I said last week, and now it's kind of stuck in my brain, was, if buying a house is in your future, there doesn't seem to be any reason to be waiting.
Right.
It doesn't look like interest rates are going anywhere anytime soon, up or down. It doesn't look like we're going to get a flood of new supply that's going to bring prices down. It's just kind of steady right now.
Yeah.
And so, if you're waiting for something big to happen to change, there's nothing in there. And of course, everybody's talking about recession and nobody knows what's going on, and everybody's, guessing on where things are going to go. But in the end, we all need a place to live.
Right. For sure. Speaking of that, there is, there are still homes for sale. There's, in all parts, all price ranges. We oftentimes say, well, those homes that are in the most affordable area are, the ones that have the most competition. But we also saw a house, a $750,000 house get multiple offers the second day on market.
Yeah.
So it's not just those more affordable homes. So
Tracy, there was a story that came out. This a couple different stories I want to cover. One, there was a story. KRQE Channel 13 did a story about this neighborhood in Moriarty
Right.
that is getting built.
They're cottage homes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're,
Who's building those?
That was
Is it Westway?
No. Stillbrook.
Right.
Yeah, Stillbrook,
right.
one of our
Local builder. Yeah.
And one of the big conversations in the housing world these days is affordability.
Right.
And that, we just, your traditional, let's just, your kind of average, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage house now in the greater Albuquerque area is going to be over $300,000, even, at the entry level. And so, there different entities trying to figure out different ways to get homes that people can live in, that they can buy under that price point. And so what's happened is Stillbrook is working on these cottage homes in the Moriarty area where they were able to get some land at a very good value. And
they're 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes generally, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Under 300.
Yeah. So that was one of the stories that came across. It's, there's a lot of work being done on how to address this housing affordability challenge.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's great. Good for Moriarty. That's great.
It's one of the Albuquerque bedroom communities, and my understanding schools are great. And
well, we would know that because our one of the realtors on our team, her husband is in the school system there.
Okay, well, I'm a little biased.
He's a principal there, and they feel like it's good school, so that's awesome. So there's also a mortgage finance authority story that came out, Tigo, or not a story, it's a program.
Yeah. So look, just
fairly limited
what is the mortgage
scope.
finance authority, and what's customarily, what do we see? What do they do?
Mortgage Finance Authority is a New Mexico program, New Mexico funded by the legislature, funds that allow for funds typically for down payment for first-time buyers who qualify with their income and their credit score guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of gives them the money to get into a home as their down payment. And they also now have some funds available, $4 million for entities, not private home buyers, but entities like government or nonprofits, churches, things like that, who maybe have been gifted an empty building or who own or to buy a vacant property and get the funds to help renovate it. So it's kind of an interesting twist.
Yeah, I'm going to want to learn more about that. I saw the press release and I thought, this looks really interesting. It looked like it was almost for the flipper, if you will, somebody that's a developer, remodeler, contractor that's going to take a house that's been,
it says vacant, basically
abandoned or whatever, a distressed home, and turn it around. My guess would be that it's, we're speculating here. We don't know the details. We need to talk to Eunice. Yeah.
I read the details and I went, okay, I'm not quite sure what the need is, but it's interesting because there must be properties around, and it's for the whole state. There must be properties around that are problematic that somebody owns and doesn't have the funds to renovate.
Well, and I know for sure that there's properties in the greater Albuquerque area that, it's difficult for somebody that has a business of fixing up homes and reselling them for them to make any money on that. So maybe this is a way to help, dollar level. It's just not worth the squeeze. What was it?
Juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Juice isn't worth the squeeze for them to do the work to fix up some of these properties. So maybe this will help in, get some of those properties that do need the attention, because it's interesting that's been happening with our market here with the few number of homes that are available to purchase. So many people are fixing up these homes. And so now we're seeing a lot of turnover in some of these, areas that have, let's just say, not been kept up as much. But since values have gone up, people are able to remodel, fix up, and
Renovate. Yeah,
and basically upgrade in place, if you will.
totally.
Or,
Yep.
well, yeah, move up in place. That was the term. That was one of those terms that's been floating around in real estate world now. It's like, we used to talk about the move up buyer that,
Yeah.
needed a bigger house or whatever. So now it's, move up in place. Basically, you don't move, you just fix up your house and make it what you want, as opposed to moving to find the other house.
Yeah.
So
Can be done. So the new seller and buyer guides are out.
yes, we have some great guides. They're put together by an entity that we work with nationally, and it talks about just the state of the entire housing market in the United States.
Right.
And we have them on our website at welcomehomeabq.com. You can look at them there. We've got them loaded as a flip book. You don't have to
Yeah.
tell us your information. We just want to put it out there because some really good information, and it's kind of going into some of the myths that we hear out there about the real estate market and what is actually happening.
Sure. And like we got them printed out, and I was looking through like the buyer market, and it's, kind of the topics, what's going on right now in the housing market. And, when we find someone who's interested in purchasing a house, the first place we like to start is helping educate them on the market and what's going on here locally, how it works, what they need to know. We know when somebody comes to us and they say, well, I would like to have a house at this price in this neighborhood with this many bedrooms. Really, that's a little bit getting the cart ahead of the horse.
Right.
First we want to help them understand what that area of town they want to live in, what prices are doing there, how quick things are selling, and then kind of educate them on the process, and then make sure we have a financial strategy in place so that when they find the right house, that they're in a position to make the offer that they can make and feel comfortable knowing what their monthly payment is going to be, and that they can buy that house, right?
Right.
So some of the topics in this guide, besides what's going on right now in the housing market, top reasons to own a home, questions to ask yourself if you're considering buying a home, the impact of changing mortgage rates, which I'm sure.
What are the questions? I'm curious about that. Sorry.
The two questions.
The two questions
to ask yourself if you're considering buying a home. One, where do you think home prices are heading? And it's interesting. We think prices are going to continue to go up. Maybe not like they have the past 3 years, but
Actually,
over time.
We hope they don't go up the way they did
the
last 3 years.
Right.
At least in my opinion.
But when you're thinking about buying, there are people who have told us, I'm going to wait until prices come down. And those are people who missed out on 3% interest rates, a lot of them, right? They were worried because house prices were going up so fast, and house prices have continued to go up. So, the question is, where do you think home prices are going? If you think they're going down, or if you think they're going up. So if you think they're going to continue to go up slightly, which is what most of the data would show, wouldn't you want to lock in today's price, even if the interest rate might be a little higher than it was a year and a half ago? And, over time, if interest rates change, you could always, refinance into a different rate. The other question is, where do I think mortgage rates are heading? So we kind of just covered that. So
I'll give you my 2 cents on mortgage rates. I mean, we did just talk about the fact that the Fed this week did not raise prime rate, but did leave an opening to possibly increase the prime rate again. And I want to remind everybody that the prime rate that the Fed charges, internal in the banking system, doesn't directly affect mortgages. It's not a one for one.
Yeah.
However, just affecting the cost of money overall does affect mortgages, because it affects the price of bond rates, and bond rates are the thing that really affect what mortgages are. And so what's happened in the last few weeks, we've seen another increase up, 7.5%, even 8% mortgages now. That's kind of where things are at today, which is pretty shocking when you think about, we had such a long period of time where we were sub 5%.
Yeah. And so, Tigo, when our listeners call us and say, I would like to buy a house, I saw this house, I want to go look at it, that's usually where home buyers want to start. They're excited. They saw a house online or they saw something, they drove by and they went, oh, I want to go see that house. And we're happy to show how the house. We would hope that we also have the opportunity to help our listeners get the information they need to be ready when that house is the right house, right?
Yeah.
So other topics here. Home ownership helps protect you from inflation, which we know. Home ownership wins in the long run. Ways to overcome affordability challenges in today's market. Sounds like an interesting topic. The importance of getting pre-approved, things to avoid when after applying for a mortgage. We can guess about those, right? You don't want to do big credit checks on your credit after you've applied for a mortgage.
You don't want to apply for credit. You don't want to buy anything on credit. You don't want to move money around in your accounts after you've put a mortgage in. And, once you put a mortgage application in, your loan officer should go through all that stuff with you.
Yeah.
But if you're, got a friend or a relative that's buying and you're chatting with them about it, remember, be sure to tell them that, because that can really blow up a deal and people don't realize it.
Yeah. Don't go buy the new furniture for the house until you closed on the house, right?
Yeah.
Or don't open a line of credit or make a big change.
Yeah.
Tips for making your best offer on a home and getting clarity on the housing market with help from a real estate expert. So those are the kind of little bullet points in the table of content on this home buying edition that we have on our website for kind of a home buyer guide. We have a home seller guide on our website as well. So it kind of goes through some of those tips too. Obviously, we can partner with you to help you understand the market if you're thinking of selling your home. We love when we hear from our listeners that call us and get help with real estate needs. We have quite a team, Tigo, to go off topic. I was thinking about the talent on our team.
Sounds like we're right on topic.
With buyers or sellers, right? We've got a lot of really great seasoned real estate professionals that work with us to help guide people on this journey that most people don't do very often.
Yeah. And these days it's not often even more.
Yeah.
Wait, did I say that right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, it used to be that the, average time that somebody stayed in a home was 6 to 7 years. And then it moved up to like 10 years. And now latest one I saw was like 13, 14 years as the average time that people are staying in their homes. And that, and especially now with what we're calling the mortgage rate lockdown, where people that have low mortgage rates, they're not super motivated to sell and get into a much higher mortgage rate. So, they're you think about how much of an annuity that is. If you have a home right now and you have a low fixed rate mortgage, that's like comparing to somebody that has to buy right now. It's like an annuity, right? It's hard anyway.
It's
I think
future
people
value.
understand the concept there.
Yeah.
The okay, rent. I want to talk about rent because I know we don't really do rentals. We do help our clients, give them the resources to find rental properties, which is very challenging in Albuquerque right now. So in the Albuquerque area, there is a shortage of rental properties. There's especially in, let's say, the lower price points, the more moderately priced rental properties. There's just a very limited supply. There are a lot of properties under construction. There's new properties popping up all over.
A lot of apartments.
Apartments, yeah. If people drive around, you see them. There's a lot of them. The number I heard was something like 5,000 units, or what's
doors.
Usually doors. Yeah, it's usually called doors.
5,000 apartments
in the rental world. So there's there are some properties in the pipeline, but it's based on what the economist is saying here locally. It's still not enough,
right?
And so what's happened is rents have gone up and continued to go up here for the last few years a lot.
Yeah. Is there one site now for listeners to look for rental properties?
I like that. You just lobbed that softball up to me. That was funny. The New Mexico, it's a NM Home Rentals. New Mexico, or NM Home Rentals. The reason I'm giving Tracy a hard time is, I was involved in that with our multiple listing service here in Albuquerque, bringing that product out. So it's a place people can go to find rental properties from multiple sources. Generally, you're going to see a lot more properties that are available on there than on some of the other resources like Zillow or apartments.com or some of these other places. But the one thing we need to remind people to avoid are the free listing sites. So that's the Craigslist, the Facebook Marketplace. And I'm not saying every single rental property that's listed on those sites is a scam, but there's a lot of them on there that are scams.
Right.
And we're continually seeing different scams when it comes to a lot of different things in real estate, but that's one of the bigger ones for people trying to find rental properties is, they get on there and somebody's posted a fraudulent listing. It's not something they own. They're on the other side of the world and they get people to send them a deposit or first month rent or whatever. And that money's gone.
Yeah.
And so
Definitely.
just one of those things to be aware of when we're talking about rentals. And again, if you're out there and you're listening and people looking for rentals, just tell them to beware. The scams are everywhere. They want to make sure they're dealing with the true property manager or the true owner of the property. And there's ways to do that. But anyway, okay. I want to go back to rentals.
So Tigo, we were talking about rentals. What's happened with prices of rentals?
Yeah, that's
or rent prices.
Yeah,
I should say.
rent prices, because there's been a lot of conversation in the kind of national real estate conversation about rent prices are dropping. But actually, what's been happening is the rate of appreciation has been dropping. The pace at which the prices were going up has dropped, which is good news for the big inflation number, because housing is such a big part of that inflation number. I don't want to get into the details on that, but basically rent matters a lot when it comes to inflation. And what happened was, we went from 2, 3, maybe 4% per year in rent inflation in the Albuquerque area for many, many years, right? It was
it was very flat for 10 or 15 years. We weren't seeing any big jumps in rent prices.
No, it was very steady.
Very steady.
Which was great for renters, and it kept inflation low, and it was working for property owners and landlords and all that. But what happened is, starting 2019, so this is pre-pandemic, we started to see things bump up, more like 6-7% per year. And then in that 2021, the year through 2021 was like 17% we saw in price appreciation in rents in the Albuquerque area. And then it was what was the next year? It was like 12%. Yeah. And then, but now we're back to somewhere around 4.5% year over year for rents in the Albuquerque area, which is a healthy number. It's.
So let me do the math. You said 4.4 or 4?
Yeah, 4.5, and then it
4.
was
5.
like 12, and then it was 17. So like in 3 years, yeah, like what, 30%?
So a $1,600 a month rent at 4.5% year to date is $72 a month extra.
Yeah.
So I like to see real numbers. So
yeah, no, I think that's fair. And so we went from, let's say, $1,650 last year to almost $1,700 this year. Again, on averages, we're talking averages. We're not talking a specific property. So it even though home prices have gone up substantially, and it's we've got some affordability challenges there, no doubt about it, for purchasing, especially with the mortgage rate situation. But rents have continually gone up as well, and there doesn't seem to be much relief in the pipeline, even though there are a lot of apartment units under construction in Albuquerque right now. More than we've seen in a long, long time. What happened was, during the pandemic, nothing got built.
Right.
Nothing. No multifamily got built.
No. And, we're way behind, even if there had been things built.
Right.
Then. Right.
And even with what they say, 5,000 units or properties in the pipeline, they're still saying that's not enough. So it's, we're not in, we're in the housing business, right, Tracy? We only how couldn't that get that one out? Mostly focus on, helping buyers and sellers for single family, homes. Right. But it's all connected.
It is. So I
You
want
want
to
to,
talk.
yeah, you want to talk about homes.
I want to talk about homes of the week. So I don't have specifics. I do have specifics, but sometimes I talk about certain properties, and by the time the clients get around to looking them up online, they're not available anymore.
Yeah.
Open houses, same thing. So, what I would suggest, Tigo, is that people, our listeners, they get online, they look at our website, welcomehomeabq.com. So, there's a tab there for open houses, and it's not just houses that Venturi Realty Group is holding open or having. Representing it's all the open houses that all the agents in our market are putting out there so that you can find all of them. However, what's best? Give us a call. Let us put a tour together for you. Let us show you those houses on your time when it works for you. Sometimes by the time we get to an open house, Tigo, the house is already sold and they're not having the open house anymore. So we can get you into that house quicker. It's the websites, there's lots of them where you can find houses, right?
Okay, I wanted to talk about that because there's this. I've seen this misconception that if you look on one website and you look on a different website and you look on a different website that shows homes for sale, you're going to find something different. That
Yeah.
is not the case, because what happens is we have the multiple listing service here, and this is true in any market, but it's true here in Albuquerque, where all the properties that are listed by licensed realtors, real estate agents go into that, and then they get dispersed to all those different websites. And really the only difference is the way the property is displayed and how quickly it updates, really.
Yeah, I think sometimes, Tigo, people say, well, I found this one on this website that I didn't find elsewhere. And I think sometimes we get used to whatever app we're used to and we know how to navigate it. And maybe we go to a different site and it's a little bit foreign. But yeah, if you look at anything that's listed in multiple listing service should be on all the different websites people look on.
Yeah, the there used to be a time where there was a lot of different websites where you had to manually put properties for sale into those sites. Those days are gone for the most part. There's some obscure sites that do special stuff like bank owns and foreclosures and auctions, and there's a lot of weirdness there. You got to really know what you're dealing with when you would deal with stuff like that.
Well, because sometimes those sites that say foreclosure or pre-foreclosure, those houses really aren't for sale.
Correct.
They're taking data from a county website of public record of perhaps something, but it doesn't mean that house is really available for
Correct.
sale.
Because what they do is they pick up on the pre-foreclosure court filing that the bank intends to foreclose on the property. That doesn't mean you can buy it. It just means that there was a court filing, and it's going to be months and months and months,
If not years.
if not years, before that property ever came available, if it ever even does.
Right.
Because many times that gets taken care of
Right.
before it goes.
Somebody
to
gets a
actually foreclose.
notice that they're
Right.
behind on their payments, they a lot of times make it good.
Well, in different than 2000, let's say 8, 9, 10, for example, let's say 9, 10 in particular, people have equity now. The problem back then, there was a lot of people that didn't have equity that got a foreclosure notice, and they didn't really have an option, and they couldn't bring cash to close
Yeah.
to do it. So, but in this case, a lot of people do have equity and can still get it sold before the actual foreclosure filing happens.
Right. So, Tigo, we've mentioned on our show several times how we do a little investing in stocks, right?
Yep.
Not just real estate, and that we tend to watch CNBC in the morning while we're getting ready for the day.
I know what
right?
you're going to say. This is so exciting.
So I got a call this week from a producer at CNBC, and they asked me to be on their television show this coming Thursday, the 28th, on their Power Lunch segment. They're doing a tour across the West about housing, and each day they're going to feature a different city. And they asked if I would talk about Albuquerque real estate on CNBC on the Power Lunch show, which is awesome because I looked and, I've been watching CNBC since the 80s. Sometime in the 1980s, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know how long it's been out there actually, but through different hosts and different eras of how the stock market is doing. And, when I'm able, I watch Power Lunch, and I know the people who are typically the interviewers or the hosts on that show. So getting the call from them, you get a call, and we get calls a lot of times, and you're like, really, is this for real? Am I really
Well, a
talking
lot
to
of times
somebody.
we get calls and they're trying to sell some sort of marketing program and they drop
Yeah.
names and,
Yeah.
different things. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, so if you are available on Thursday from 12 to 1, I don't know a specific time yet for that 4 to 5 minute segment on housing in
It's
Albuquerque.
a hit, Tracy. It's a hit.
Oh, whatever. I should be there stumbling through it, saying and ah,
No,
and
don't do that. Don't do that.
having them ask me a question and go, oh, I wasn't prepared for that. And but no, it'll be fun.
Of course you're prepared for it. We do this every single week. This
I
is
know.
what we do.
But I'm used to being here with you, bantering back and forth,
Yeah.
and I don't know them like I know you. The
You're going to get
questions.
those hard questions. It's like
Yeah.
Melissa Lee and I'm trying to remember the guy. Anyway, that's exciting. So yeah.
So we're excited
look for
about
Tracy,
that.
and I'm going to try to get that recorded so we have it as well. And
yeah. So just want to end with a thought. If you have thought about being in real estate, it's a great profession. We would love to talk with you about that. I'd be happy to sit down personally and talk to you. If you're thinking about real estate or if you're in real estate and you're thinking of making a change, wondering if there's something better for you, I'm kind of one of those.
You don't sugarcoat it. You don't sell it. You give the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's what I was just going to say. I was going to say, I want people to know what it's really like to be in residential real estate if they're thinking of making a big life change. But if you're already in it and you're looking for something different, I'd be happy to talk to you about why we love Real Broker and why it might be a fit for us to work together. So if you want to collaborate and think about working together, I'm happy to sit down. Anyway, always good to be here.
Yes,
we love
of course.
Being here and putting out information, and we love to hear from all of you. Thank you for reaching out and letting us help you with your real estate questions and needs and recommending us to your family and friends.
Yep. We do appreciate it. And if you want to reach us, we're the Venturi Group with Real Broker here in Albuquerque at 505-448-8888. Thanks for watching.